Thank you. So we'll keep it brief. I think we're the only thing standing between you guys and lunch. So let's keep it short. My name is Katharina. I run AI strategy and product at QuantCo. We're an enterprise AI company building risk forecasting systems for large insurers, banks, and healthcare companies. And Agata, why don't you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Agata Nowicka. I'm the managing partner of Visionaries. Visionaries is an AI specifically focused on AI accelerator in partnership with Google. We focus on supporting science-driven and AI-driven ventures. I'm also the founder of Female Foundry, and I'm also the author of Female Innovation Index. Great to have you.
That's fascinating. So you work with lots of startups across so many different sectors. And obviously, there's been so much dynamism in the tech world in the recent 3 years, I would say. What are some of the key trends you've observed very recently in the startups that you are closely working with?
Yeah, sure. So I actually personally have been on both sides of the ecosystem as a founder and as an investor. And I would say, and I hope that you are with me on this, there hasn't been a better time to build a company as it is today. The pace of innovation that we see across different tech sectors and also within the tech itself opens up these amazing opportunities for founders that basically that are very exciting for the future. And in terms of two trends that I see currently, firstly, both founders and investors are trying to really project into the future. We don't really know what the future that everybody pitches, and we've seen some pitches today, is going to actually look like. But everybody, though, agrees that AI is going to transform the way we live, the way we work, and even the way we think about that future. And two themes that I see are that, on one hand, and maybe I'll share some slides here. On one hand, VC investors specifically are looking for that velocity of growth. 2023, 2022 was more about strong unit economics and profitability. And I think that founders in the audience might agree with that, and equally investors. Now I'm seeing that shift towards velocity of growth again. That doesn't mean that unit economics are not important. If anything, they are potentially with AI more easier to achieve. But at the same time, that velocity of growth is definitely something that investors are looking for. Now, on the founder side, what I see is that, and I work with many founders that not only leverage AI, but also innovate on the foundation level of AI, is that those founders are looking to defer or even skip fundraising or raising external capital altogether, which is very interesting. Again,
why is that?
Yes, why is that? Okay. There's a simple explanation for that, is because with AI, obviously, they don't need to hire as many people. That capital requirement is much more, it's much lower. And their belief is that they can bootstrap up to the point when they show that velocity of growth, and the point when they potentially will be raising that round that will be much more substantial than going through a typical pre-seed, seed, and Series A potentially fundraisers. So one point that I want to make before we move on is that I definitely see that AI is a hugely democratizing tool. There's a huge shift when it comes to mindset in terms of founders. And what excites me about that is because it also lowers barriers to entry for those founders that haven't been potentially been able to raise capital before, to even get started, to even build those MVPs. So that's very, very exciting. And one thing that I want to mention there, because yes, that's been the theme that I kind of dedicated about 2.5 years or 3 years of my life on. And basically 1.5 years ago, I built this initiative called Female Innovation Index to exactly map that funnel of innovation and funding driven by female entrepreneurs in Europe. So today, it's the biggest analysis of female innovation in Europe. And basically we capture about 100 insights on this topic.
So you're saying basically AI is lowering the barriers to entry to become a founder. And I guess women have traditionally been underrepresented in founding circles and startups. So what are you seeing in terms of how women are using AI in the companies that they are founding?
Yeah, so that's very interesting because we actually asked this question this year for this year edition. And we found that 77% of female entrepreneurs currently already leverage AI for their businesses. Now, perhaps this number is not surprising, but I also believe that that number is going to significantly still go up even this year. So that's very exciting. Another thing that we've also asked founders who participated in the survey has been how they basically leverage AI today. And you can see that content creation and product innovation, which is very exciting, are the key themes in terms of utilization of AI, leveraging AI. Some of the least popular kind of applications today are fraud detection. I think that's going to change. And recruitment. So that's very interesting. Other few things, by the way, Katharina, because I know you're all in when it comes to AI and also building AI models. We've also looked at actually areas of kind of business creation for founders that raised funding in 2024, those that are actually building with AI on a kind of meaningful level. And potentially, unsurprisingly, AI applications is the biggest theme when it comes to AI and female entrepreneurs. Gen AI applications and model makers are the kind of the subsequent themes. Also, what is interesting here, you can see there are very few female founders that are building on the foundational level. So yes, female founders raised 5.76 billion of funding. We've also done an analysis very quickly on 50 biggest rounds in Europe, and you might find it surprising, 25% of capital raised by female entrepreneurs in 2024 went to AI-driven startups. So that's really significant. Another stat that really stood out for me personally was that 81% of the biggest rounds that went to female entrepreneurs in Europe went to founders with scientific backgrounds. So that's really very interesting insights.
And do you know how that compares to non-women founders? Like, is it easier to raise if you're a woman and have a scientific background?
I would probably be confident to make that connection today. Yes, because exactly on another stat as well, 33% of the entire venture capital that went to female entrepreneurs in 2024 went to deep tech startups. So that's something that we literally had to triple check because that's a really big fat number. It's 1.9 billion and it's 33% of that capital, entire capital. And that's actually quite positively 2% even more than looking at agnostic populations. So that's really exciting.
Interesting, yeah, that's great to know.
In terms of the...
And what applications are they raising in? Just tell us.
In terms of the applications of deep tech, I would say synthetic biology, drug development, and fermentation are the biggest themes. You know, we talked about Gen AI, but when it comes to deep tech, those categories actually are much wider. And on the non-kind of deep tech level, health, fintech, and food are the biggest sectors where female entrepreneurs raise funding. So you can see already the themes kind of emerging. Deep tech, AI application, and also health are those areas where female entrepreneurs are driving innovation today in Europe.
And what other sort of takeaways did you see about generally how successful women are at fundraising compared to, let's say, the historical past?
Yes, so that's also a kind of big focus for us to a little bit debunk and kind of maybe bring more detail to the Cormon narrative out there. And one of the interesting insights, just a couple of insights before we finish, I want to share with you all, is that we've actually done an analysis in terms of looking how much capital female entrepreneurs raised across those different years. looking at basically taking into account the number of startups in that category. So we all know that there are fewer female-founded companies in the first place. So when you take that into account, actually female entrepreneurs are as successful at raising capital as agnostic startups. So that's a big finding again, because there's, I think, this misconception that the chances of fundraising as a female entrepreneur are disproportionately lower. And we've proven it with data. It's actually not the case. And the last one that I want to share with you and leave it with you today is that actually female entrepreneurs are actually more successful at making that bridge from seed to Series A rounds than agnostic startups. So that's, again, quite positive news. This is all what we have time today. So the closing thoughts are, I think, Katharina, again, I'm very excited not only for female entrepreneurs, but about entrepreneurs building companies today. AI creates a huge opportunity for founders to innovate, and deep tech being a strong category for female entrepreneurs, we are definitely going to see more innovation coming out of that category of startups.
And if you could give one piece of advice to female founders, especially now, based on those learnings that you've had, what would you tell them?
I would just tell them to do it, because we need more female entrepreneurs in Europe, full stop. I think there is too much hesitation when it comes to entrepreneurship, and I think that you need to just get started. And because the barriers are now today so low, there is no reason not to be an entrepreneur if you want to be one.
Great, very inspiring. Thank you, Agata.
Thank you.
Thank you.